Success in any calling is the result of definiteness of purpose. Hello, I'm Carla, psychotherapist and mindset coach, and on this channel, I help you get unstuck and reach your goals by exploring topics that shift your mindset so you can live your highest potential. We are continuing the reading of The Science of Personal Achievement from Napoleon Hill. We are continuing Chapter 1, Definiteness of Purpose, and today we are picking back up on 7 factors of definiteness of purpose. Let's dive in. You can write your own success story if you find your own definite purpose. To compose the first chapter, you need to know and implement the 7 factors that are part of definiteness of purpose. The first factor. The first factor is known that the starting point of all achievement is the adoption of a definite purpose, accompanied by a definite plan for its attainment, followed by an appropriate action. That means plan, purpose, and action. Those 3 words constitute the first factor. Success in any calling is the result of definiteness of purpose. Success in any calling is the result of definiteness of purpose. We don't arrive anywhere. Nobody just arrives anywhere without knowing and planning where they're going. There's a great analogy from Earl Nightingale's Lead the Field program where he discusses we have to know where we're going. A ship at sea does not just accidentally sail into the port that they wish. It takes strategy, it takes planning. You have to carefully go through hundreds of miles of rocky coastline to enter into the port that you desire. You're not going to just accidentally float into the port, so to speak, of your dreams and your calling. We must be definite about what port we want to go to. So success in any calling is the result of definiteness of purpose. Now we all have purposes, varying purposes, but they're not definite. Most often they're hopes and wishes. We all wish for money. We wish for opportunity. We wish for love and affection. We wish for recognition. We wish for a lot of things. But wishing is just not quite enough. Before you can be sure of success, you have to have a definite objective, a definite plan for getting what you desire. And you have to back that plan with everything you have. You have to trick your mind constantly until the subconscious of your mind picks up your plan and finds out what it is that you want. The second factor. The second factor is that all individual achievements are the result of a motive or a combination of motives. To accomplish anything in this world, or doing anything, is the result of a motive. All sane people move as the result of motives. There are 9 basic motives under which you can classify every impulse that you have to do or not to do throughout life. I remember a really great example from one of James Allen's book. I think it's Men and Systems. And he talks about the difference between motives and intention. And I always remember that intention is like a goal. Intention is what we intend to do, like the outcome, what we want to happen. But motives are what lie underneath. Motives are the emotion, or I think about the motor, the energy, the emotions, the motive, the motivating factor that gets us to that intention. And if the motives are wrong, meaning you have bad emotions around getting to that intention, usually the intention really doesn't come to fruition. But if you have good motives, the intention flourishes, and it's everything you want it to be and more. So Napoleon Hill is talking about motives. He's saying that to accomplish anything in this world is a result of motives, motivation, emotions behind. It's the energy that drives us toward the goal. Okay, so he's saying all sane people move as a result of motives. There are 9 basic motives under which you can classify every impulse that you have to do or not to do throughout life. Number 1, the emotion of love. Number 2, the emotion of sex. Number 3, the desire for material wealth. Those are known as the big 3, love, sex, wealth. It's been said that these 3 emotions practically govern the entire world. Wow, ain't that the truth? Okay, number 4, the desire for self-preservation. Number 5, the desire for freedom of body and mind. Number 6, the desire for personal expression and recognition. Number 7, the desire for perpetuation of life after death. Those are the 7 positives. Next are 2 negatives that influence your life very often, more than the positives, the ones to look out for. So number 8, the desire for revenge. You would be surprised at how much of a person's life is devoted to wanting to strike back for some imaginary or real grievance. And yet all such effort is destructive. Yes, it is. The desire for revenge. I like how he says, you would be surprised at how much of a person's life is devoted to wanting to strike back for some imaginary or real grievance. Isn't that the truth? We like argue with people in our head and we like play stories back, and our memory, we remember things differently than other people, and we like always expect the worst or think that people thought the worst of us, and we just like want to get revenge and get back at them for something that really never even happened. Number 9, the emotion of fear, which probably influences more human action than all other motives combined, and yet is the most destructive of them all. It is so true. You know, I really, in my studies and personal development and my spiritual development, I have really come to the conclusion in my life, and I see it for other people as well. Truly, we always have to choose between love and fear. When I am not being loving, when I am not feeling loving or grateful, or generous or giving or abundant, I am in fear. I am in lack. I am in scarcity. I am in doubt. I am in worry. And I found myself here a lot, and I still every single day have to be aware and observe, why am I always in a fearful state? And am I taking actions? Am I making my decisions out of fear, out of lack, out of worry, out of poverty? And so I have to remember, how can I see this differently? How can I perceive this differently? Because this does not feel good, and it doesn't give me the results I want. So the emotion of fear, it probably influences more people, and it's the most destructive. Under the heading of fear, there are 6 basic fears to be on the lookout for consistently all the way through life. Let's listen up. The fear of poverty. Now, why anybody should be afraid of poverty in a great nation like the United States, where opportunity abounds, is more than I can understand. But I do know that the vast majority of my students have to be treated first for the fear of poverty. They have to be made success conscious. You will never be successful in anything until you have a consciousness for success. You must get over the idea of self-limitation. I want you to really check in with yourself. I certainly am. Whenever I read this, whenever he talks about the fear of poverty and these 6 ghosts of fear, do I have a success consciousness? Or am I caught up in self-limitation? Oh, that couldn't happen. I couldn't grow even more here. That just seems like a little far of a reach, Carla. I can't do that. Am I letting the fear or the doubt or the inability to have the faith and just go for it hold me back? So that was the fear of poverty. The next one, the fear of criticism. Oh Lord, you're lucky indeed if you come this far in life without having suffered from the fear of criticism, the fear of what they'll say. And I have heard so many people say, well, I'd do such and such if it weren't for what they will say. And I have never yet found out who they were. Isn't that funny? That's so true. It's like, oh my God, I can't do that. Well, what will they say? Who's they? Your family, your friends, your coworkers, the peanut gallery in your head. Usually it's us. We're afraid of us. The voice, the call is coming from inside the house. And so he's saying, well, I've heard so many people say, I'd do such and such if it weren't for what they will say. And I still have never found out who they were. They are entirely imaginary beings, but you'd be surprised how powerful they are. They stupefy enthusiasm. They cut down your personal initiative. They destroy your imagination, and they make it practically impossible for you to accomplish anything above mediocrity. Oh my goodness. Let's read that again together. Repetition is the key to learning, okay? So he's talking about the fear of criticism. You're lucky indeed if you come this far in life without having suffered from the fear of criticism, the fear of what they'll say. And I have heard so many people say, well, I'd do such and such if it weren't for what they will say. And I have never yet found out who they were. They are entirely imaginary beings, but you'd be surprised how powerful they are. They stupefy enthusiasm. They cut down your personal initiative. They destroy your imagination, and they make it practically impossible for you to accomplish anything above mediocrity. My goodness, let's just be honest with ourselves. We're really afraid of what we'll think, what we'll say. We're afraid of failing. We're afraid of looking stupid. What they'll say, no, we're afraid of what we will say. So let's just push it all aside. Live unapologetically. Give 0 Fs, as they say. All right, the next one, the fear of ill health. The doctors know too well what that fear does. It results in a condition known as hypochondria or imaginary illnesses. Okay, the next one, the fear of the loss of love of someone, upon which all of that form of dementia known as jealousy is based. Jealousy doesn't require a reason. It can be just as violent and just as destructive when there is no basis for it as when there is a basis. Ooh, that's the truth. Yeah, because when we're jealous, we sometimes, most times, it's just in our imagination. It's like we play these stories in our head of like, our partners are cheating on us, or they looked at somebody, or they're texting somebody. And as a therapist, I've seen so many relationships end because someone is jealous. They really weave webs in their head, truly, when nothing is happening, and it's a pattern in them. So that's why we figure it out. But it's terrible. It's really destructive. So jealousy does not require a reason. It's just as destructive if it's true or if it's imaginary. But it is a motivating force and a fear. It's one of the 6 basic fears. Next one, the fear of old age. I don't know why people are afraid that they're going to dry out and blow away when they get to the nice, ripe old age of 40 to 50. This was written like 100 years ago, so Napoleon Hill does not know how we're aging these days, but still. The real achievements of the world were the result of men and women who were well beyond the age of 50. That's what I love about this book. Napoleon Hill, and even in Outwitting the Devil, in all of his books, he really says, people don't achieve success, true success, until after the age of 40 because they sowed all their oats, they learned all the lessons, they let all the wildness out, and they're grounded and they're centered. So the real achievement of the world were for men and women who were well beyond the age of 50, and the greatest age of achievement was between 65 and 75. Ooh. So I don't know why people are afraid of old age, but nevertheless, they are. Wow, that's really, I've always heard him say, most people are successful after the age of 40, but he's saying the greatest age of achievement was between 65 and 75. All right, I think this is the 6th basic fear, the fear of death. It's the rarest thing in the world to find a person who hasn't, at one time or another, been afraid of dying. This philosophy you're learning about in this book before you finish reading will, I hope, prepare you to eliminate all 6 of those basic fears, particularly the last one. All right, so back to the factors of definiteness of purpose. The 3rd factor is that any dominating idea, plan, or purpose which you hold in your mind through repetition of thought and which is emotionalized with a burning desire for its realization is taken over by the subconscious mind and acted upon through whatever natural and logical means may be available. Let's read that again. The 3rd factor of definiteness of purpose is that any dominating idea, plan, or purpose which you hold in your mind through repetition of thought and which is emotionalized with a burning desire for its realization is taken over by the subconscious mind and acted upon through whatever natural and logical means may be available. That description is a lot to digest. I agree. Any dominating idea, plan, or purpose held in the mind through repetition of thought and emotionalized with a burning desire for its realization is taken over by the subconscious mind and acted upon through whatever natural and logical means are available. Now, the key ideas in that sentence are natural and logical means and burning desire. Well, a burning desire is a desire that prompts you to be willing to give anything in the world, whatever the price, to attain the object of that desire. A burning desire is one you take to bed with you at night. You give it over to your subconscious mind at night. You get up with it in the morning. You eat with it. You sleep with it. You first get it, and then it gets you. So it's like that magnificent obsession. That's what a burning desire is. You may have to talk about it. You have to think about it. However, when it comes to talking about it, be careful where you talk because you may become bored. Because you may become boresome to people. That's funny. Some of what I'm telling you may seem fantastic. I urge you, don't just take a part of this philosophy. Take it as I give it. And no matter how foolish it may seem to you or to those around you at the beginning, follow it to the letter. The 4th factor of definiteness of purpose is that any dominating desire, plan, or purpose backed by the state of mind known as faith is taken over by the subconscious mind and acted upon almost immediately. The 5th factor is that the power of thought is the only thing over which any human being has complete and unquestionable control. That is a fact so astounding that it connotates a close relationship between the human mind and infinite intelligence. the very fact that the Creator gave humans control over only one thing, but it was intended for that one thing to be sufficient for their needs. And believe you me, it is sufficient if you use it properly. There isn't anything you can achieve which you can conceive and believe. There isn't anything you can't achieve which you can conceive and believe. If you can conceive an idea or plan or purpose and believe you can achieve it, you can find ways and means of doing it. But you have to be definite about it. So think about the things that you dream of, that you wish, that you're conceiving in your mind. Do you truly believe it? We must have all of these, conceiving it, dreaming about it, but believing it. It's the feeling is the secret, really. We can think all we want, but if we don't believe it in our subconscious mind, again, we can think all we want in our conscious thinking mind, but if we don't believe it and feel it to be true in our subconscious mind, we will never achieve it. We must conceive, believe, achieve. Conceiving, thinking about it, getting the plan together. But if we don't believe it, put it into our heart of hearts, get emotionally involved, really feel ourselves with it, have the faith, have that burning desire for it, we'll never have the motives. The emotions will never move us into motion. The motives, we won't have the motivation, the motives to achieve our results, our goal. Again, if you can conceive an idea or plan or purpose and believe you can achieve it, you can find ways and means of doing it. But you have to be definite about it. You have to be specific. You have to know what it is that you want. You have to know why you want it, and you have to make up your mind what you're going to give in return for it, because nature frowns upon the idea of something for nothing. So we must make a decision, be definite, know where we're going, make a decision that we're going to go for it no matter what. And we have faith. The plan will be given to us through persistence, through decision, through desire, all of the principles that Napoleon Hill teaches us in this philosophy. And we can't get something for nothing. So what are we going to give for it? What kind of service? What kind of product? What are we going to create? How are we going to serve in return for money? Bob Proctor always used to use that great metaphor. Money is just an indication of the service you provided. And if you don't have money, it means you're not providing a service. And we all have talents. Trust that what you feel passionate about, what you're talented at, you can find a way to make money, to serve, to fill a need. The sixth factor. The subconscious mind appears to be the only doorway of individual approach to infinite intelligence. The basis of the approach is faith, based on definiteness of purpose. Any idea, plan, or purpose held in the mind in the spirit of faith begins almost immediately to reveal to you ways and means of carrying out that idea. This is so true. I have a story about this. So he's saying that faith based on a definiteness of purpose. I remember I bartended for like almost 18 years. I know I look young, but I've lived. And I remember I was like switching my careers and I really didn't want to do that anymore. And I was like, how am I going to survive this, career change without working there? And I was like, there has to be a way. There has to be a way. And I was done. I made the decision. I was like, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. Like, I'm quitting. I'm done. And the moment I made that decision, my mind, I started thinking of things that I hadn't thought of before, ways that I could, get money, take out a loan, do whatever that I had never even thought of before. So it's so true. If there's something you want to do, make a decision to do it, unequivocal, like burn the boats. You will get ideas. It's like when we're pushed up against the wall. Don't wait till you're pushed up against the wall. Push yourself up against the wall and say, I am done. Draw a line in the sand for yourself. Don't wait for the world, for life to do it for you, because it will. And it's usually more painful. So let's be the masters of our life. Make that definiteness of purpose, decision, and you'll start getting the ideas. They'll start immediately coming to you, as he says. The last one, the seventh factor, is that every brain is both a broadcasting set and a receiving station for the vibrations of thought. A fact that explains the importance of moving with definiteness of purpose instead of drifting, since the brain may be so thoroughly charged with the nature of a person's purpose that it will attract the physical or material equivalents of that purpose. So the brain, the human brain, based on how our mind programs our brain and chooses our thoughts, our body, we're this electromagnetic being. Our thoughts are electric and sent out through the broadcasting from our brain. And then we're magnetic, we call it back to us. So if we don't have a definiteness of purpose and we're immersed in that feeling and know where we're going, and that's what's being broadcast, like, this is where I'm going, this is what I need to achieve, that's what will be drawn to us, all the resources But if we're just like letting every Tom, Dick, and Harry thought come in our mind, we're just like chaotic, unorganized, that's what's going to be sent out. And that's what we're going to get back. Just like this chaotic energy. Maybe we'll win, maybe we'll lose. Sometimes we'll be up, sometimes we'll be down. It's like playing Russian roulette with your life. Are you just drifting, not having a definiteness of purpose? And a lot of people don't. Like when they say, wow, that's, come on, it's like definiteness of purpose, being real decisive. That's kind of extra. That's harsh. It's like, is it? Look at anybody that you look up to, anybody that's successful, that's truly successful. It's like they're usually seen as being like cutthroat or like whatever, because everybody else is kind of just drifting and taking it easy. They're like, wow, dude, you're doing a lot. You're doing the most. That's extra. They get judged, they get criticized because they're the outliers. Really, only 2% of people in this world are really winning. Why? Because they follow philosophies like this. So whatever thoughts that we are charged with that are sending out in our brain, we will attract like thoughts. He's saying that is an astounding thing, all the more so because it's a provable fact. That is to say that the first broadcasting and receiving set ever built was the human brain. And whether you recognize it or not, you're constantly tuning into the vibrations of other people, especially the people with whom you are in harmony. I mean, where your thoughts and your thoughts agree. And whether you recognize it or not, you're constantly tuning into the vibrations of other people. Yes, we are, especially the people with whom you are in harmony. I mean, where your thoughts and their thoughts agree. Like attracts like, birds of a feather flock together. If your thoughts happen to be of poverty, failure, and or illness, you'll tune into the thoughts of other people who are releasing similar thoughts. If your thoughts are of success and riches, opulence, you'll tune into the thoughts of other people who think along those lines. There will be times where ideas will flash into your mind that are so negative that they almost scare you. That's what they call intrusive thoughts, Napoleon Hill. You wonder where they came from. You wonder why your mind would hand over to you such destructive thoughts. And if the truth were known, you've left your receiving set open and you've tuned into the wrong type of minds. It's when we get off track. It's when we lose focus. We get distracted. We're not being definite in our purpose. We're just drifting. So we're letting those thoughts come in. This philosophy is designed to keep your receiving set closed to all except the kinds of minds you want. Positive minds, minds that think in terms of what you want instead of what you don't want. I think one of the strangest things in life is that most people go all the way through life as failures, regardless of their education or their standing or their opportunity. They suffer with fears and limitations, and strictly speaking, they never find happiness. The reason is that they allow their minds to dwell upon failures, poverty, ill health, and the things they don't want. Doesn't it say somewhere, and I always say this, in the Bible, in every spiritual teaching, it says, focus on gratitude, focus on the good things. I don't know, is it Proverbs or one of those things? I'm not a Bible scholar, but they say, everything that is true, pure, just, of good rapport, think on these things. It even says, like, for the love of God, think on these things. The greatest spiritual teachers are telling us, keep your mind on the positive good things, because wherever your mind is what you will attract into your world. Again, it doesn't mean that we can control all the bad things outside of us. It just means we are always in control of how we're going to respond and perceive any of those things when they do happen. Because we do live in a world of duality. There is no such thing as a perfect world. Sorry, there never will be, as long as we're here in this physical form. But we can dwell there within, because our true essence is formless. And if we're tuned into that, we remain unmoved. He's saying that people suffer with fears and limitations, and strictly speaking, they never find happiness. The reason is that they allow their minds to dwell upon failures, poverty, ill health, and the things they don't want. The mind actually has a peculiar way of attracting to you the things that it feeds upon, things that it associates with. It's like a rotten apple in a bear, and you can't afford it. You can't afford close association with people who are not vibrating on all 12 cylinders. Oh, this is so good. You can't afford close association with people who are not vibrating on all 12 cylinders. You cannot afford to associate with people who are not vibrating on all 12 cylinders. Wow. Pick out the winners. Be like the person who went to the restaurant and ordered lobster. When the server brought it out, one of the big claws was gone. The diner complained about it, and the server said, "Oh, well, he got in a fight and lost the other claw." The diner said, Bring me the winner. I want the winner. Now that's the idea exactly. Associate with winners because they'll lift you up. That's funny. And if you associate with failures, they'll bring you down in spite of all you can do. Tap the power of your subconscious mind. One thing you can do to become a winner is to tap the power of your subconscious mind in moving toward your goal. You can use it to connect with a universal sort of power. The subconscious mind appears to be the only doorway of individual approach to the universal supply of infinite intelligence, and it is capable of being influenced only by definiteness of purpose backed by enduring belief. Definiteness of purpose automatically develops self-reliance, personal initiative, imagination, enthusiasm, self-discipline, and concentration of effort, all of these being prerequisites for the attainment of success. It induces us to budget our time and to create day-by-day plans which lead to the attainment of our overall or major purpose in life. It makes us more alert in recognizing opportunities related to the object of our definite major purpose. All right, this is the last little paragraph of this reading, and then the next reading we're going to finish up chapter 1. It's going to be the formula for a positive mental attitude and the formula of definiteness of purpose. But let's finish this here. Definiteness of purpose inspires confidence in our integrity and character, and it attracts the favorable attention of people who may aid us in the attainment of our purposes in life. It opens the way for the full exercise of that state of mind known as faith by making the mind positive and freeing it from the limitations of fear and doubt and anxiety. Last but not least, definiteness of purpose makes us success conscious, this being the first step in the direction of successful achievement in all undertakings. It aids us in developing and maintaining a positive mental attitude. We all know the importance of PMA, positive mental attitude. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You ain't getting nowhere with it, baby. So let's have good attitudes. That's usually the culprit of a lot of things in life. We just have a bad attitude about it. So next time you're feeling sad, annoyed, grumpy, irritated, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Check your attitude. Can I change my attitude about this? Can I create a boundary? Can I leave? Can I say no? Can I walk away from something? Can I drop something? I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Again, thank you so much for being on this journey with me. If you are interested in personal development or you're a fan of Napoleon Hill, I am a certified coach at the Napoleon Hill Institute. All of my information is below. I offer free 30-minute coaching calls. So if you're interested, I would love to help you in any way or just get to know you. So please reach out and I will see you next time.